We're back with Coach Doug Phillips as we take a closer look at Southern Illinois. And Coach, when we begin with the Salukis, I guess we start with their quarterback, Nick Baker, who seems like he's been there for 10 years.
Yeah, it does. I mean, he's a great football player, and it starts with him offensively. They do a lot of different things offensively, and it's with him. And, you know, if you're not sound, if you do not communicate well and have great eye discipline, they'll expose you real quick.
And they did some work in the portal as well. They're not the same team that you faced last November.
No, offensively, you know, they went in the portal and brought in a couple receivers. Defensively, they really picked up. You know, they got a couple young men from Eastern Illinois, a guy from Pittsburgh, a guy from Buffalo. And on defense is really where you see their athleticism and speed. And most of those defensive players are 5th and 6th year players.
So they're a veteran team.
Yes, they're a veteran team.
Let's take a closer look at the Salukis. Again, they're 4-0 on the season, 1-0 in conference play. They're averaging 21 points a game. Again, we talked about Nick Baker. Coach, he's thrown for close to 300 yards a game.
Yeah, and he's one of those people ask you, know, not big in stature. He's not, you know, a pocket quarterback, but he can make every throw. He scrambles. Sometimes I think he can throw with his left hand. You know, he finds a way to get the ball downfield.
They also have a receiver and a return man in the name of Vince Davis, who seems to do a lot.
Yeah, and that's the transfer they brought in. He was a leading receiver, I think, at Charleston Southern, and brought him in and, you know, replaced, you know, guys that graduated. So they really did a great job. You know, defensively, you know, they got the #1 rushing defense in the conference, only giving up 58 yards per game. So it's going to be a great challenge, and it starts up front. Our defensive line and our offensive line, we got to be able to control the trenches.
You know, you finished with them last year, and you're kind of playing them right out of the gate this year. You know, so your schedule makers, you know, kind of didn't do you any favors at this point.
It's almost like NFL where you play a team twice, with, you know, in a calendar year. But it is. It feels like that we just played that game, and you know that was a game where, you know, I'm sure they look back and say, how did we lose a game where we had a 21-7 lead? So I know they're coming back to Youngstown. Knowing they got to come back to Youngstown, they're probably not happy with the result of that game.
Coach, it's a night game. I know most coaches would rather play at 10 in the morning, so you're going to be sitting all day. They're going to be sitting all day as well.
It's a different mindset that you got. And we got a routine if it's night game, if it's a 12 o'clock game, if it's a 5 o'clock game. But to have the mindset come that when it's 6 o'clock and that kickoff, you got to be ready to play great football.
We're going to take a look around the rest of the Missouri Valley Conference as far as the schedule this week. And Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you. I mean, South Dakota, next week's opponent, I know we don't get too much, but they go to North Dakota State and come away with a win.
No, and that's great. That just shows you in this league every week, 50% of the teams lose every week, 50% win. And those games, you got to go fight for 60 minutes. And the team that makes the least amount of mistakes are the teams that walk away with a victory. And to see South Dakota go into the Fargo Dome and get that win just shows you it's evidence of how tough our league is.
So come Saturday, I know getting out to a good start is always a key. What are some of the other intangibles that we need to look at?
Yeah, we got to make sure we start and finish. We handle the highs and lows of a football game. We have to establish the line of scrimmage in a run game. No one's been able to run the football on them, you know, so that it's a great challenge for our young men up front, but we got to be able to run the football. We know we can pass, but we got to be able to run the football. Defensively, you got to stop the run, and you got to affect number 8 because he makes everything happen.
And special teams, obviously, another big part.
Yeah, we got to be superior in special teams and continue to create explosives.
Coach, we appreciate your time tonight. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Dana. Go Gwins.
And we'll be back with running backs coach Jeremy Larkin when Penguin Game Day continues.